At 6:47 a.m. on March 5, 2012, the quiet broke first. A flashbang detonated inside a narrow Chicago apartment. Light, noise, confusion. 12 FBI agents poured through the doorway, rifles raised, lasers cutting through dust and smoke. They weren't storming a drug den. They weren't hunting a terrorist. They found a 27-year-old man in pajamas, blinking under ceiling lights that hadn't been turned off all night. His name was Jeremy Hammond. And here's the part that changes everything. The FBI didn't catch him mid-crime. They didn't stop an attack. They watched it happen for 7 months and let it continue. Before he was labeled a national security threat, Jeremy Hammond was just a teenager in suburban Chicago. At 16, he built websites for anarchist groups. He organized walkouts against the Iraq War. He printed underground newspapers exposing what he saw as corruption baked into American power. By 19, he co-founded Hack This Site, a collective built around teaching computer security through practice. By 22, he was in federal prison. His crime was hacking a right-wing group called Protest Warrior and redirecting stolen credit card funds to charities like the Red Cross. The FBI called it fraud. Jeremy called it redistribution. He served 2 years in a federal facility in Illinois and walked out unchanged, except sharper, angrier, more certain. Prison didn't slow him down. It calibrated him. By 2011, Jeremy was living in a cluttered Chicago loft. Coffee cups, circuit boards, tangled cables. The air smelled like stale pizza and solder. The FBI already had a file on him, thicker than most career criminals. Recidivist hacker, they wrote, someone who would offend again. At the same time, the streets outside were changing. Jeremy watched Occupy Wall Street unfold through his laptop screen. Riot police, pepper spray, banks rescued while families lost homes. Something shifted. Petty hacks felt meaningless now. If power was hidden, he wanted the vault. That's when he joined a militant anonymous splinter group called Anti-Sec, and that's where he met Sabu. Sabu was everywhere, always online, always confident, always pushing for bigger targets. To Jeremy, he was a mentor, a strategist, a friend. What Jeremy didn't know was that Sabu, real name Hector Javier Monsegur, had already been arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Facing 124 years in prison and responsible for 2 young children, Monsegur broke within a day. From that moment on, every chat message ran through FBI servers. Agents installed surveillance equipment next door. They issued Sabu a government laptop. Every word of encouragement Jeremy received was typed under supervision. And then Sabu suggested a target: Stratfor. Stratfor marketed itself as a geopolitical intelligence publisher. Executives read its briefings over coffee. Government agencies relied on its assessments. In hacker circles, it had another name: the private CIA. Stratfor worked for defense contractors, energy companies, governments, without oversight, without FOIA requests, without public accountability. Jeremy dug deeper. Job listings recruited directly from the CIA and NSA. Client testimonials bragged about monitoring activists and labor movements. This wasn't analysis, it was privatized surveillance. Sabu pushed hard. "This is the one," he wrote. "This is how we change everything." Jeremy listened. On December 6, 2011, while Americans shopped for Christmas gifts, Jeremy found the flaw. A basic SQL injection. Unpatched, unnoticed. He slipped inside. Administrator access followed. Then root. Folders appeared, organized by client name. Dossiers on activists, reports on Occupy organizers, surveillance commissioned by corporations against private citizens, Dow Chemical spying on Bhopal disaster survivors, Coca-Cola monitoring animal rights activists, defense contractors trading intelligence like gossip. Then the emails, 5 million of them. Executives discussing classified operations, claims about Osama bin Laden's location, conversations about destroying Julian Assange financially and psychologically. Jeremy didn't just steal the archive, he burned the house down. Databases wiped, backups shredded, charitable donations charged, ironically, to the credit cards of Stratfor's elite clients. Prosecutors would later call it theft. Jeremy called it exposure. The files went to WikiLeaks. What Jeremy didn't know was that every byte had already been copied to FBI servers. Sabu kept pushing. Foreign government targets, systems the FBI couldn't officially touch. Jeremy took the bait. By February 2012, the Bureau had everything it needed: chat logs, targets, admissions. On March 5th, hours before the first Stratfor emails were set to publish, they moved. Flashbang, cuffs, silence. In his cell, Jeremy read the complaint. CW1, confidential witness 1. It was Sabu. The leaks detonated worldwide. Corporations spying on activists. Private firms trading classified intelligence. Stratfor's CEO resigned. Jeremy watched from a cell. He was charged under the same law later tied to Aaron Swartz's death. Then the case landed before Loretta Preska, whose husband was a Stratfor client. Recusal denied. Facing decades, Jeremy pled guilty. Sentence capped at 10 years. At sentencing, letters poured in. Even Daniel Ellsberg spoke up. It didn't matter. Maximum sentence. No remorse, the judge said. Jeremy raised his cuffed fist. Long live Anonymous. Prisons scattered him across high-security units, communications management units, isolation. Outside, journalists mined the emails for years. Awards were won, congressional hearings held, and the industry adapted. Stratfor fell, but firms like Palantir, Black Cube, and Sig Group filled the space. The shadow state didn't disappear. It professionalized. Late 2020, Jeremy Hammond walked out of prison at 35. Gray in his hair, restrictions on everything. No computers without permission, no travel, no anonymity. He proved secrets could be stolen, that power could be exposed. He also proved the price. A decade of concrete, a friend turned weapon, a system that never blinked. Jeremy says he'd do it again. But the real question isn't for him. It's for whoever's staring at a screen right now, wondering if the truth is worth everything. Because the system is still watching.